Hello everyone, today we have a crazy list that runs nothing higher than a 3-cost card, only one form of bounce in Beast, but it absolutely dominated. I ran it for a little bit over 30 games today, and I maintained a 70% win rate while on stream, which if you guys watch the streams, you know that I get distracted by chat. I love interacting with you guys, and so I usually play just a little bit worse when I'm streaming, but I was able to maintain a 70% win rate, and it was overall dominant. It didn't have a particular deck that it just felt like it could not match into because of all of the tools that it has at its arsenal. And one of my personal favorite things about it is that it runs and wants to utilize Havok. Dropping Havok as early as turn 4 can net you a 12 power card, and you typically don't need the energy late game because if you're going to be dropping multiple cards, it's going to be with a beast, so the cost is going to be reduced. Otherwise, you can just flood the low-cost things onto the board. You can scale your Athena incredibly easy, and you have some really cool flexibility in like a Madam Web play to be able to scale your move cards, or just have that mind game component of where is a 12 power Havok gonna land? Where is the Athena that's scaling like a monster gonna land? Where is the 20 power dagger that's been moved 2 times? Where is that gonna go? We have a lot of flexibility in this deck, and it runs insanely well. It does kind of go back to that small ball package, which I always find that the meta gravitates towards, and that's because it's much more flexible. It doesn't really matter the order that you draw the cards. Because they are cheap, you can kind of intertwine them together, versus something that runs a big payoff on the last turn. If you draw that early, that is a dead card until turn 6, or whenever you need to drop it, and so your mid game is a little bit more constrained because of that. With this one, if you don't have Havok, Angela would probably be the closest sub. She's not going to have anywhere near as high of a ceiling, but she's going to do the job okay, because you're going to be able to play into the Angela lane, play into the Madam Web lane, move cards out, and continue playing there. You'll be able to scale her a decent amount. If you don't have US Agent, completely understand. There's not a fantastic sub for him. I would say another good value 2-cost card. Maybe something like White Widow. That way you can pull it back in, have another cheap clutter tool, but having all of our cards be under that 4-cost category means that US Agent can be free to be played wherever. And even better if you play him into the Madam Web lane, because then the opponent has to worry where they play any of their 4, 5, or 6-cost cards, because you can move that US Agent whenever you feel like it or whenever you need to give yourself the best position to win. Everything else in the deck is pretty standard. Madam Web definitely required for this build or this version. If not, you're going to have to re-envision the entire thing. Kate Bishop, incredible utility tool. If you don't have her, she is very flexible, very much worth it. You're going to see her in a lot of decks. If you don't have her, same thing as the US Agent. Another good value 2-cost card, but she really helps even out your curve. Make sure you can always scale your Athena and just always have things that you can be doing on every turn. But we're going to go ahead and end the deck explanation there, jump over into a couple of games. Thank you guys, as always, for being here. I hope you guys enjoy. Next up, we have Control-Alt-Retreat. We're going to go ahead and skip for the Collapse Mine. Her second home is Lockdown. Yeah, I think also in Lockdown she can serve some really good functionality, and also things like the Raft. We can throw her and then move those cards out later. A multiple man. So it's either Phoenix Force or just a straight movement deck. Is it bad that I kind of am considering throwing Havok on 3? Probably a bad idea. Go US Agent, Iron Fist. Is Phoenix Force. So Goose won't really restrict them all that much unless they don't have the Phoenix Force line and they end up going with like and they end up going with like the Nimrod stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and do this. I'm gonna use it on 4. Blob is not awful. It's not going to be very big, though. It's the bad thing. Symbiote Spider-Man. Feels like it could get pretty scary pretty quick. I'm going to go Kitty Pryde, Dagger. That way we can move the dagger and yank it somewhere else next turn. so we can like move it right, yank it left. Do you think the new War Machine is worth its tokens? I think War Machine is really fun now, but I don't think it's overly strong. I think it's very transparent, so I think the cube rate is going to be relatively low, just because it falls or loses to like those big tempo decks still. So I think it's a fun deck for sure, or a fun card, definitely playable, but I don't think it's broken by any means. So they could instantly destroy a Nimrod, but that's not amazing for them. Our blob becomes 8 power. So we move the dagger, move the Iron Fist, yank dagger back. Or is that too much overkill in the Havok lane? Goose Kitty Beast cat deck? Yeah, this is an interesting cook for sure, but it's been one that's actually been working pretty well. So their first card is going to get destroyed, so I'm assuming maybe like a Nimrod. But I'm curious what that left card is with the symbiote. It wouldn't have had extra energy, so I don't think it could be like a Carnage. Oh, just Human Torch. Alright, that's fine. Take all 3 of the locations. With New York helped it out a little bit, but having the Havok down early, since we don't really need the extra energy, can be really can get really big really fast. 12 power gets really tough to deal with. Next up we have Colin. Let's see if we are calling for a retreat for him. First location, Crimson Cosmos, really tough for us, other than like the Madam Web stuff. Madam Web allows us to easily reach that location. We can do like a Madam Web into a dagger move, into Beast being able to pull it back in. White Widow is unfortunate, but at least we can't get fully capped here. We could always potentially move it to the left or wherever else we might need it. I think we go ahead and go with the dagger line. Next turn, we'll move it. Oof. The Green Goblin is going to be... It looks like they're running full clutter. We're going to be able to beast the Green Goblin back in, which is nice. If we move a card out of Madam Web's lane, that does put us a little bit susceptible to being capped out here. So we could always, like, Widow's Kiss, Beast... pull these back in and just save the dagger move for next turn. I think I'm going to go ahead and go dagger and just hope that they don't do like a debris or something in mid, like a Viper. Ooh, wait, a Havok of their own? I don't think I've seen Havok in ages. And here we have a Havok Enjoyer. So we can go a Havok, a dagger, and a Green Goblin. I don't even know if we want to throw the squirrel or not. Just with how much junk they've been sending our way, it's a little bit scary, but I'm going to go ahead and throw it into the left lane. We have the Havok that's going to scale on the right, and we can kind of determine where will be best to push or pressure on the last turn. The grapple arrow, the acid arrow coming into play. We do still have 1 space in the left lane, but they have a dagger of their own. Interesting. Wait. This looks very similar to what we're running, except for it's more clutter line. So if we move the squirrel, do an Iron Fist Vulture. 9, so it's a positive 8 power here. So it goes up to 16. It doesn't match their Havok scaling, which is the scariest thing about Havok, is how quickly that power scales up. Don't really have a way to double move. The last card they played was Dagger, right? They could always Ghost Spider yank it to the left. I think we just do this. We Dagger left and then heavily support the right lane to allow our Havok to scale. Would the Vulture be... The Dagger left is going to be more than pushing Vulture left. Central Park made things tricky. Central Park made things a bit tricky. But it also helps the Dagger scaling. And then AJ, welcome in. Hopefully you're having a great day so far. We do claim the 1 cube retreat. We'll take it. Let's jump over into the next one. But imagine the mythic daggers and vultures. They could get pretty big pretty quick. Next up we have Wbot. We have our Fate Bishop. We have the US Agent. We have Goose. Let's go ahead and throw Goose into mid, just in case it's an Annihilus deck that really limits their sentry line. And if not, then we can kind of make a pivot from there. And then Vosh, with your 6-month resub in Infinity Paradox, with your Prime resub, that does slingshot us into, I think, the first hype train of the day. We've had a little bit slower stream, but I've really enjoyed being able to come back and chat with you guys. And so I appreciate every single person that's here, because I didn't do a big announcement that I was going to jump back into a stream. You guys just either were in the Discord or followed the notification, or maybe you found me on just the homepage. But either way, I'm glad you guys are here. Sudden pairing Mystique with US Agent. It may not instant win it, but it does help it out quite a bit. All right, let's go Madam Web into... We can do Madam Web into Dagger, or we hold off a minute. We do like Madam Web, US Agent. We can always maneuver the US Agent out if they throw something big later on. And then Frank, how's the deck doing? Well, to be frank, I think it's okay. I don't have the stats yet. I'll look at them here in just a second. Actually, it's doing really well. I pulled them up. We're 7-3, so a 70% win rate over the course of 10 games for an average of 1.3 cubes per game. So it's performing pretty well so far. So we could do Grapple Arrow into Dagger to Havok. Might not be awful. That'll allow us to move our Dagger one additional time. It's only going to scale by 3 depending on what they play. Just hoping they don't have a way to clutter and clog this location. So it does look like it's only going to scale by 3. The Nico comes in, pulls Werewolf mid, and then Kate Bishop comes back down. So even more arrows for him. US Agent for us doesn't hit any of their cards because they are running Bounce. Havok is going to scale up to 8, which is okay. Don't necessarily need the energy either. After all being said, should I get Madam Web, or are the rest of the cards coming more worth than her? I think Aranya is going to be a really flexible card that will be useful in a lot of like either Brood decks, Surfer decks, even decks that run like the big body stuff. Yes, you're the worst. Brandizzle. Okay, yeah. No contest here. I agree. I may be the worst. We don't have a lot of... I think we lose this one because they probably have a pretty big last turn play, but we'll see. We do win mid with the Dagger. Or we should win mid with the Dagger. Silver Stable pulling Werewolf back over to the left. Yeah, and that's where it's going to stay. Wait. No, we win. That is a massive Werewolf in the left lane, but it is a big dagger in mid as well. We will grab the right location. I'm guessing they messed up the maybe the order of play with the grapple arrow. But we'll gladly take it. We'll take the 2 cubes, and that continues our 70+% win streak. Next up, we have AG Pumper. The first location is Grand Central. We have our Iron Fist. I'm going to hold it for now. Then we'll see. Ooh, we're running up against an Agatha deck. Getting a Goose down could be good. Havok is now gone. Their Lady Sif is now gone. And it procs their Black Knight. Super unfortunate for them. Take it. We do have the Madam Web. We have Athena. So we can always Madam Web and then Vulture and then Ghost Spider it. I think is a pretty solid line for us. Let's go Madam Web mid. Overstable comes in. So it looks like they're running that version, which I think has very similar stats to running Beast in that spot. But let's go ahead and throw a Vulture. We can move it and then pull it back with our Ghost Spider for a double movement. We lose our Athena. They lose their Ebony Blade. Unfortunate for them. They're stuck with Agatha. Pull this over. Then I think we drop US Agent, and I'm just going to go ahead and play the Kitty Pryde out. They finally get rid of Agatha after or on turn number 5. So they'll have the freedom on turn number 6. But is it too little too late? Don't really want the Sentinels in our hand. But I think we're going to play 8 Bishop, do an Iron Fist, move the Vulture, and then play Kitty Pryde, which will push into left. That'll leave mid open, leave right, and leave left open. So we have the Agatha beat in the right lane. We'll see what they end up pulling in the left. Hopefully it's something like the Sentinel they just drew, but it could be something big like Black Bolt. Hopefully not, though. Claw. Claw is also a great one for them to have pull in there. It does get negatively afflicted from the US Agent, which is good for us. Then, had we grabbed a dagger, that would have been great with our grapple arrow. But without it... a extra 4 power goes up to 11. Can we beat 11 power? This is 4, 7. Ties with the 11. So then it would just be the point differential. I think we'll stick it out. The vision, we should be able to tie that lane. Comes down to a point differential. Yeah. So that being the highest like reach that they typically have outside of their Agatha, we were able to make a calculated guess. US Agent pays his weight heavily here, giving us that extra 8 power to tie the left. We'll take the 2. Let's jump over into the next one. All right, next up is Cody. Let's go ahead and skip on 1. Get rid of the rocks. We have a Bishop that we can lean into turn number 2 to potentially give us some resources, or Goose. Goose could be an interesting one, depending on what kind of deck they're running. But I kind of want to wait to see, at least for a little bit. A Human Torch, Ghost Spider. It looks like probably a full-on movement deck. And the bad thing is I don't think we match well into a deck that goes super heavy into all of the movement. So if they have Falcon, Beast, they pull these back in, we're not going to be able to do much to stop it in most cases. We can do Goose, Iron Fist. Next turn we have Vulture into a Ghost Spider pull. Ooh, a multiple man. Interesting. I wonder if they're setting up for like a Heimdall play. Depending on how far into it they're running. So Vulture, move left. Ghost Spider pulls it back. It's going to be our only waste to move cards unless we top deck a Madam Web. But unless they get something big, we should be able to win mid off of it. I'm so confused at the Symbiote Spider-Man there. They could potentially have a Phoenix Force. But they won't be able to play the Phoenix Force here. So confused. All right, let's go Athena, basic arrow. And we'll see from there. Phoenix Force would end up being multiple man. Ooh, Spider-Man 2099 does get destroyed. Oof, what bad luck for Cody. Good luck for us, bad luck for Cody. And so, next up we have T-Ginge. The first location is Murder World. We have Athena. Martage is always interesting with like a dagger into a movement across the board. We do have our US agent now, so let's go 8 Bishop. We'll draw a couple arrows. A basic arrow is actually really good in Martage. Going up against a Thanos deck, we can get some good benefit from a potential boost play. And then Quantum Tunnel is amazing for him. Let's go with a basic arrow, Ina. Start scaling here. After that, we could go Vulture, or like grapple arrow, Vulture. Hold the Vulture over into the right lane. US Agent may be decent for us in this game as well. Mind Stone to draw their stones out. Oof, unfortunate. Into a blob. What a great rotation. Mockingbird and Elia. So huge value for him over here. Does that change how we want to play it? We have Goose. Kind of like, maybe like a Goose here. You set up a US agent over to the left so that they can't do anything big in the left lane, or they do, it'll just be negatively affected. Next turn, we can throw Grapple Arrow, Vulture, Ghost Spider Pool, all in one fell swoop. Kind of like it. I almost want to snap into it, but I want to see this one play out. All right, that is a lot of flood. Madam Web, so they can move cards. Marvel Boy is marvelous. To Soulstone. So it looks like maybe instead of a big body deck, it's looking like a zoo style. Still think we go Grapple Arrow, Vulture, move over to the right into... Do we hold the Ghost Spider for now? That way we can proc Athena this turn and next turn. Yeah, let's go ahead and hold the Vulture, or hold the Ghost Spider. If we flip into Iron Fist, beautiful. If we flip into Madam Web, then we don't need the Ghost Spider on the Vulture anyways. Mods, please ban TLSG due to enjoying excessive use of card-related puns. It's bad. And that's one of my favorite things about creating content, is just all of the bad puns. All right, so the Grapple Arrow into a Beast, not the best for us. See, I resisted. I didn't say it's not the Beast card it could have been. The Thanos in the left lane is pretty big. This tower, I'm glad that came down a bit late. So Thanos, 1, 2, 3. They played the Mind Stone, so 4. Did they rotate another one? I guess their deck is empty, my goodness. So this goes up by 10, guaranteed. We do Ghosty Spider, scales by 6. We go Iron Fist, Dagger, moves over here, and we're just going to have to hope that this is enough power to win here. think the lane that we have to really compete for is going to be this left. So the dagger move is going to be 12. Vulture pulling over is going to be an extra 6, so it's an extra 15. So huge value for us. And then we'll go ahead and lock in the Havok. And then Be Malone, a Havok deck. It is a beautiful Havok deck. They played Cola Obsidian over to the right. We're going to be able to beat the big bad Thanos at his own game. We have mid locked in. The left is going to be ours after the dagger moves. And then Havok is just going to kind of hang out there. We'll take the 2 cubes against the big Thanos, which got a pretty good like flip, a lot of power spread. We were just able to come over the top of it. Let's go ahead and jump over into the next one. I don't know if you've been together a long time or not, or if you're just kind of saying date in like a cutesy way. But either way, hope you have a good time. So the Nova comes down. We have to look out for maybe Silver Surfer stuff or like a Destroy deck. Those are the 2 common ones that I see here. We can go like an Iron Fist dagger. Next turn, move the dagger over to the left, pick it up with Beast. Yeah, I think that's the direction we go. Are drops done? Yeah, drops are done right now. They ended on the 11th. I need to turn off that command. Thanks for the reminder. I'll turn off that command after this one, but they're gone for now. Hopefully they come out with another one soon. So I'm going to hold the dagger in place for now. I'm going to do good old Athena. I guess Athena Goose. Even though they have like the Hope Summer stuff, Goose will stop them from doing, like, I guess, Gwynpool. At least it'll stop them from doing Absorbing Man there. We won't be able to retreat after 5, so we could snap into it pretty heavily. We can do dagger move, Beast, dagger move, Beast, Havok. We have 2 high scaling cards, the potential to move a dagger as well. So we can move a card out of the Wakandan Embassy going into 6, push our dagger over. Havok's going to be 8 power. We have US Agent to drop either into mid or somewhere else. Just depends on what kind of cards they drop this turn. And then Jade Sea, Agency? My brain melted. Welcome in. Hopefully you're having a great day so far. And then Guy, man, this change has made it so hard. Well, which change? I've been enjoying the over the air. Which particular card has given you trouble? The big Sarah is scary. We can always, like, Athena, Iron Fist, Dagger, US Agent. Goodness. Even with the Havok down, we don't need much energy. Let's go US Agent because it at least hits their Sarah. I'm not sure that this wins, but I'm interested enough to try and stay. Probably they'll have a full middle. Yeah, that's what I was thinking with the Iron Fist Dagger move to push an extra 12 power there. But we did move Athena out, yeah? Maybe it's not great. We'll see. We'll see if it's able to hold down, because it is the 8 plus the 12 plus the extra 4 from Havok. So it gives us a very formidable Wakandan Embassy lane. They go double mid, single card to the left. So Forge, which was 6 power, which is big. The massive Sebastian Shaw, and then a Surfer coming down is not going to be enough. We win mid pretty heavily. We win right heavily. They can have the left lane. We'll take the other 2. Let's go ahead and jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Helios cloning vats. Fantastic for us. We can get a couple of Athenas down. We could potentially do Kate Bishop into like the clutter arrows. This is move cubes, but not 7 cards. Yeah, this deck moves cubes for sure. Not so much the 7 cards. Beast is a little bit cheaper, which is always great for us. Let's go Kate Bishop here. With the Ant-Man, I'm not sure if Goose does us much good. Madam Web, so it could be an interesting like movement ongoing deck. But either way, our Acid Arrow doesn't do us a lot of good. You get Ghost Spider pulled out, plucked out. Let's go Athena into Acid Arrow mid. We can start scaling Athena every single turn, or a double Athena. Which is a lot of scaling. It's really hard to deal with that much. Symbiote Spider-Man. So it looks like maybe they're leaning into like the Spectrum line to get a double trigger of Spectrum. That deck definitely leans super heavily all into it. Kind of like a Havok. I'm debating a secondary Havok. So we go Athena, Havok. Next turn is going to be Goose Havok. I feel like this has to be a snap. Because with Goose, they won't be able to move the Symbiote Spider-Man into a double trigger of Spectrum. And so if they move Symbiote Spider-Man here, it's just going to merge with the Acid Arrow. So that's not going to do them a whole lot of good. Because they won't be able to position those big cards into Hell's Kitchen. And we're going to have just an absurd amount of scaling across the board. Which I'm super excited to see. Man-Thing, very scary. And they go ahead and merge the Symbiote Spider-Man into the Ant-Man. Interesting. All right, let's go Goose and a second Havok. We have scaling all across the board. 2 scaling in the left lane, 1 in mid, 1 in right. And then we have a finisher of like a dagger ghost spider is what we're looking into. A second Symbiote Spider-Man. And so maybe they were going to go with the Spectrum stuff. The Luke Cage, really big. It will end with -1 power. Wait. Yeah, we're gonna break the game wide open. A max of 3 energy on the final turn, but that's all we need. Oh no. Let's go Dagger, Ghost Spider move. That's gonna put another 12 here, but it's gonna be negatively afflicted by 4. I guess with a Spectrum, that's probably fine. This one scales by 4. This one scales by 4. This is 3. I think we're okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw it and see what happens. Okay, War Machine coming down, and then whatever card they could throw into the right lane in a big Man-Thing. Hold on, did we lose to the Man-Thing? Oh no, we lost by 1. It's devastating. The discount from Utopia allowed them to get Man-Thing into the right. That was brutal. But I don't think I'd play it differently. That was such an interesting game. All right, next up we have DeNish Kamartaj. Always interesting for the Iron Fist stuff. We can go ahead and throw Madam Web down. We have the Vulture to lean into as well. All right, let's go ahead and go Vulture. We'll be able to move it over to the left. Bifrost moves it over into the back into mid. Kava, you said never thought a deck like this would work so well. Me either. you and me both, my friend. We move the Vulture. We throw a Havok and Ina down. That gives us a huge amount of potential in the right lane. We have the Vulture in place. We have Iron Fist. So looking at like an Iron Fist into Dagger across the world line. Blade discards. Oof. They're hella. Wait, that would have been a known. Would have been a known effect. Why did they let it discard their hella? All right, let's go Goose. I actually think maybe we spread out, move the Havok over left. Then we can Kate Bishop. If we get Dagger, then we can make it go across the world. Goose is going to help protect us in mid lane from any kind of like big cards that get resummoned. Jubilee is scary though. Not sure we can match up. So Corvus gets rid of Giganto and Hulk. Probably not what they wanted to see, knowing that they lost their... Wow, and the Odin and Ghost Rider. Goodness. Super not what they wanted to see, I'm sure. Into the Blink, which is the Gambit, but they don't have anything in hand. Oh my gosh, everything is going wrong for DeNish. What an unfortunate turn. Oh. We don't have a great finisher, but it doesn't matter. Their stuff just all... Like, they... Sometimes you defeat the opponent, sometimes they defeat themselves. We'll go ahead and take the one. Let's jump over into the next one. Next up, we have Polka King. The first location is Atlantis. We do have our Kate Bishop. We have Goose. So depending on what kind of deck we think the opponent's running. Then we also have Havok. So I think I'm going to go Kate Bishop. Until we get a feel for what kind of deck they're running, I don't know if Goose is something we want to prioritize or not. Morag coming into play. Athena is a good one to have in the right lane. So let's go Athena right. We have the Acid Arrow in the left. And then next turn is probably like a Havok US Agent line. They played straight into the Lechugia. Food is crazy. Unless they just have everything that they could need. Feels wild. Let's go Goose to the left. That would mean they would have to do, if they do Sarah, they would have to do it here. So Goose plus a Havok. We have to look out for Sebastian Shaw still being able to scale, yeah, incredibly if they get a big card down. But if they do go with Sarah, they have to play it here, which helps us out a decent amount. Can always do and like an Iron Fist into Vulture. I feel like we need to do it into the Lechugia though, which is the only sad thing. I would like to be able to top deck like a Ghost Spider, but we're going to make it much more difficult by shuffling the rocks in. Thank you, Wolverine. Goldfish memory, I promise. So the Killmonger comes into play, takes out the negative arrow, takes out our Iron Fist. So let's see. Beautiful rock. We will get rocked for sure. US Agent, Kitty Pride. That lets our Athena scale, our Havok scales. So even if it's not the most ideal, I think it's okay. Because they don't have enough energy to do Surfer plus Absorbing Man. They've already dropped Killmonger, so a Nova wouldn't do it. I think we're all right. I'm surprised why we can't see the deck list. Angel, welcome in. Hopefully you're having a great one. What would you call this deck? I propose Move 7. Move 7 feels fitting. Because we most definitely have not been able to move 7. But we've been able to move a large amount of cubes. So Juggernaut, not great for us. Into the Surfer. Wait. It's fine. It's all fine. Even if US Agent had bounced over to the right lane, it was fine because we scaled up with the Havok enough to be able to get what we needed. We will take the 2 cubes. Let's jump over into the next one. Let's go Kitty Pride. We have our Goose. We'll take a gander if it's worth playing or not. Nexus. I would definitely say probably worth playing. but there is a chance that maybe we want to wait and see if it'd be better to play it into the Nexus. I'm going to go ahead and play it into mid and hope for the best. They do go Psylocke, so a Mr. Negative deck would be very scary here. If they get the Mr. Negative out early, there's not a whole lot we can do to like counteract it other than like a lucky US agent. Let's go Athena, Kitty Pride. Playing into Hala. No, Symbiote Spider-Man. Interesting. Okay, and Hala in the left lane, perfect. I think we're okay. Unless they have Black Panther Arnim Zola. Would allow them to Symbiote Spider-Man, push it into mid. Without Kate Bishop, we don't have a way to try to even stop it. We do this, we won't be able to pull like a dagger over, but Havok scales enough. I don't think we have to worry about it. Abel comes in. Interesting. Double stealing from our deck. Everything left is patchwork. They're gonna probably be sorely saddened. So US Agent, Kate Bishop, Madam Web. None of them are going to be that great for them. Get a Madam Web we can play. It's like a Madam Web dagger. I think we go ahead and stage the Madam Web dagger. We let Athena scale, Havok scale. I think we could probably pretty easily snap into this one. I'm going to just let it play out. Because I think it's an incredibly fun line. And at this point, if we snap, I'm pretty confident that they would leave. And then Jared, you said, I love Madam Web so much. She makes moves so dynamic. She makes either like an all-in move or even some like light move like we have here. She definitely makes it very interesting. So the White Tiger goes in mid. I'm guessing they were going to try to do a Galactus thing, but with Nexus being where it was, it did not help them at all. The Iron Fist... Maybe US Agent, Kate Bishop. They drew 2 of those 3. So dagger move would only be 3. Would we rather anything else? We can go ahead and do this. That scales Athena, the Havok. And then if for some reason they get cheeky and rip away the Nexus, we'd be fine as well. We'll take the 1 cuber, jump over into the next one. Next up we have Italo. The first location is Morag. They play Howard the Duck as their first play. Let's go Kate Bishop, see if maybe we can get like an Acid Arrow or something to clutter them up in this lane. And we'll drop that alongside our Athena. The Raft location, interesting. I don't think they're going to double drop here. So I think Acid Arrow Athena should be fine. A Goose could help us protect against a Spectrum line. They wouldn't be able to do Spectrum if this one is filled and Morag is in place. I feel like we should snap into it, but I'm going to wait a turn. So quite a bit of reach here. Madam Web is fantastic. If they have a Madam Web as well, it might be a bit scary. But like Madam Web, maybe it's Madam Web Dagger. Dagger pulls over here. Then we can move it out. Let's go ahead and snap into it. See if they stay. I'm so happy everyone here is chill. Most of the time, everyone here is pretty chill, Angel. I have a very good, positive community that surrounds me. So the magic in the right lane, hopefully we get, it's a 50-50 of if it pulls theirs or ours. Unfortunately, it pulls theirs. We could do... Oh no, we can't. We can't. We can do Athena move, Ghost Spider move the dagger into mid, throw like Havok US Agent. You can always move the dagger back out. I think we go ahead and throw it. Big 12 power dagger with Howard Ravona. I'm thinking this is like a Living Tribunal line. And so we may get some really good use and value out of the US agent here. Something like dagger. This is Morag in the left is making everything really tough to drop. Because we could go dagger into Iron Fist Vulture. That gives us a pretty good lead. Here, dagger moving once and moving twice is huge. But we're losing a pretty big resource in the dagger. That's what I'm going to lean into for here, though. The Vulture move. So they are looking to do like the Living Tribunal stuff. And I think with US Agent, it just keeps them at bay too much. At least I hope. Let's go ahead and go Vulture. Then we'll go Pim Arrow. I think we'll call that okay. Because even an Iron Man in Limbo is awful for him. Because the Iron Man would be -4, so they would be negative power overall. Living Tribunal, not great, because Living Tribunal comes in at 5. So that's 8 plus 4 would be 12 power. Definitely a tough matchup for all of the big high power things that they want to stack. Maybe I was wrong. That is a lot of Flood for a deck that I thought we had heavily beaten. So the Iron Man, so far, so good. Jubilee, very scary. Mystique, what a perfect Jubilee grab.
Iron Man.
Into the Living Tribunal right. Psylocke, they tried their best. They absolutely tried their best. They got everything that they needed down. But US Agent just suppressed them way too heavily. I'm honestly not sure what they what happened. US Agent was absolutely cracked in this game. So 4, 8, 16, 32 points of value that he reduced. No. 32, 64? 64 points of value that he reduced, I think. Because of the Onslaught Iron Man. My goodness. That is where we're going to go ahead and end the video. My gosh. What a run.